All right, welcome to Car Talk. We're driving and we're going to be talking about some shit. So, all right, expectations, what we want to dive into today. And, the expectations that we can set in our own head, I know, can sometimes be my worst enemy. I've been one to create the wildest stories that set outcomes and different things for myself from all different types of situations, from, writing stories in my head. My wife went out with her friends last night and, I start writing all these stories in my head. It starts to get 11, 12 o'clock at night and I'm like, what is she doing? Why is she out so late? Where could they be? What's going on? Like, for me, my wife being out without me past midnight, nothing good could happen. There's nothing good. There's no way she could just be having fun. There has to be something that, I either allow my insecurities to get over. I create stories that some dude is trying to do something with her. I don't know, all right? But that's just one instance in which I begin to have assumptions, right? My expectations were for her to be able to possibly come home, by midnight. But she's a grown fucking woman. Who am I to have these expectations of her? And plus, she's never really done anything bad, not in like the last, almost 10 years. She hasn't really done anything that should concern me in the sense that she's going out and doing bad shit. But again, it's my own head. These little thoughts pop in and, they start to make life at the moment very unmanageable because of the anxiety, the self-doubt of myself, the doubt of, my wife, the doubt of her friends, the doubt of everything. And that anxiety is one of the biggest triggers that usually lead me to wanting to use some type of substance to numb it out. I gotta be able to shut that little voice of those expectations and the story that's being written off. And it seems like the only way I can do that is by using something, right? Either drinking alcohol, smoking weed, taking pills, whatever it is that can shut the voice that's making up these stories and setting these expectations, right, in my head. Because really all that is a scared little boy that doesn't want to deal with reality, that doesn't want to be by himself, that doesn't want to have to take on challenging situations or things, right? That fear of my wife, something bad happening to my wife, whether she chooses to do something bad or something bad possibly happens to her. That fear, that thought, all right, can make my life unmanageable. But just like anything else, I'm getting ready to go on a trip as well, go visit my sister. And I love my sister. She's awesome. She's, it's my only, she was my main sibling that I grew up with. I won't say my only sibling. I have other siblings as well, but my main sibling that I grew up with. We're 4 years apart. We both got the same mom, same dad, and But she's got a dog. She's got a very, very cute, big, some would say scary dog. It's an Akita, and I know that dogs, certain breeds and stuff like that, they can get a reputation. And no matter how cute they are, there's just that some of them get this bad rep. And until you actually meet the dog, there can be fear that comes up. And I'll be honest, my wife, she's a little concerned. My wife's a vet tech, so she really knows dogs. And, she usually is the one that gets frustrated with people when they assume, dogs are going to be mean and territorial and all these things, but yet she is kind of being that way with my sister's dog right now. And yet we have a 5-year-old who loves to hug and squeeze and kiss and he just fucking loves dogs so much. He's like me, takes after me, because I love dogs too. But, the fact that he just wants to go up and squeeze and cuddle and hug and love, every dog that he sees is kind of scary, because you can't do that all the time. He's learning to be able to ask the owner, say, excuse me, can I pet your dog? And they'll be like, no, you cannot, he's not nice. And he kind of just looks at them like, wait, what? He gets a little confused. He's learning, and then if they say yeah, he's like, oh, and pets them, and then gives them a kiss, and then gives them a hug, and it's just all over him. But, obviously the last thing that me or my wife would want for our 5-year-old son is to get bitten by a dog. So my wife, really wanted to be able to have us stay in a separate place, and not stay with my sister, even though my sister, they just moved into a nice new big house. She wanted us to come, and she wanted to host us and all this, so she's a little sad, but having to deal with, my wife's concerns and slight fear of the possibility, right, the assumptions that can come. And I mean, granted, like, they're valid, like, I get it, she's seen different things, especially my wife, and it's so weird because these are the dogs that I grew up with, Akitas and Chows. We had Chows when I was growing up, but my wife, like, those are the two breeds that she's like, no, they are not to be trusted. They could flip on you and their owners at any point. And I'm like, we've heard stories about all this. Like, we love pit bulls. Like, those are the dogs that we've had were pit bulls. And, everyone had that same thought of them. And, so I don't know. I love my wife. I'm not trying to talk, bad or anything. I'm just trying to relate to the topic of making assumptions and creating these stories in one's head, which creates unmanageability in life, right? And so, granted, we figured it out. We got a hotel, and we're going to be staying in a hotel. And, I'm very curious. I've focused in on letting go of the fear of, a possible fight, or possible, my sister and my wife, not getting along, or my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and my wife getting into it because, their dog is their baby, but then my wife has her real baby, her child baby, that she's, concerned about. So, these are tricky situations to try to be able to allow everyone to be happy. And instead of me, part of me at the beginning was like, well, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to go because I don't want to deal with this. Well, then what? Am I never going to go see my sister, who I fucking love and that really wants me to come out and that loves my children, her nephews, and her and my wife get along fantastic. They've been great friends, ever since we got together. My wife taught my sister how to drive her car and get her license when she was 16, so like, it's been great. And now it's just a dog that is, creating some of the conflict within the mind, so it's a lot, and everyone goes through these feelings of expectations, these feelings of full doubt of the situations, and really it's all fear. And when we get caught up in the future of how things are gonna go, right, or we get hung up on the past and can't let it go, our life becomes unmanageable. Because we're focused in on things that we have absolutely no control over. We have pretty much no control over the future, besides ourselves, on possibly the steps that we're going to take for ourselves to get to that point in the future, right? But that can get you in trouble too. And then a lot of times we get hung up on something that happened in the past that's done. It's done. You can't go back in the past and change what had happened. Sure, you can reach out and you can try to find some, if you did something that you need to ask for forgiveness with or something like that, you can do that. You can apologize. You can talk and try to make amends with things in the past, but other than that, that's all that can happen. So, I know when I'm tripping out on something of the past, I gotta let it go. Unless there's a conversation that I can go have where it was my, fault and how things went, and I can go and apologize or ask for forgiveness and, just be vulnerable and authentic in the sense that, like, hey, I need to make this right. Then yeah, we can do that. But, oftentimes that's not what I get hung up on. Oftentimes I get hung up on that person pissed me the fuck off. Or I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened. And it's always with other people and the way that it made me feel. And, I get hung up on that. And I have a hard time letting that shit go, Had a hard time on letting shit go with my parents. The way that they, things that happened as they raised me and, different situations. I had a lot of resentment for my dad for a very long time. For a long time, I thought that my mom was making my life very unmanageable. I could barely even talk to her on the phone because it was just like I would get all this frustration and anxiety, like even just talking to her, because my mom is a lot. I'm a lot though too, so it took a lot of me getting real with myself and doing a lot of inner work to realize the shitstorms that I was creating for myself and the unmanageability that I was creating and the fact that I was trying to avoid it all. And I didn't really want to deal with any of it. I wanted to put my shit on everyone else. Self-pity. So, I had to get real with what the fuck was really going on. What were these situations? And I had to get real with what can I actually do today, right now, presently, right now. Not what could I have done yesterday or last week or last month or a few years back or, what can I do tomorrow or in a week or, 2 weeks or next month or next year when these things happen. No. So, I had to really focus on just getting myself okay for today. I had to focus in on finding a way to be present and being okay in that presence. Because I realized that if I'm not present, then I'm hung up in the past or I'm caught up with what's going to happen in the future. And those don't serve me at all. Those don't allow me to give my boys attention and spend, my present attention with them, to listen to my wife when she has things that she needs to talk to me about, to get off her chest when she needs my help, or be able to listen and have time, be present, have a capacity for a friend that may need my help, that may need, someone to talk to. I've realized when I'm able to put my shit aside that I might be worried about in the future or still, bitter about the past, when I'm able to put that shit aside, I'm able to have the capacity for usually what was meant to be in my day. To be able to spend present loving time with my boys or my wife or a friend, or go out in nature and just be grateful for all that God's created and put within my present reality, or have the capacity to be able to listen to someone and hold space for someone that's going through a tough time, a tough present time than I am, and be of service. But the more I get caught up in the past, the future, then I miss out on all those presents that come with the present. So that's my car talk for today. Try to let go of the past. Don't get, caught up in the future. Try to stay present. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what means the most to you. You know where your energy should go. If you need some time to meditate, recenter yourself, ground yourself, find the capacity to move forward, then do it. Take 1 minute. It takes, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Maybe say a prayer. What's really helped me is the serenity prayer. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change. I can't change the past. I can't necessarily change the future. I can only change myself, right? Give me the courage to change the things that I can. myself for the most part, and accept the things that I can't. Right? No, give me the wisdom to accept. Or no, the wisdom to know the difference. We're getting it, right? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. See, there we go. I'm trying to reverse park and do all that, so it gets a little tricky. I can only do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Which I don't know how I just recorded this little podcast and drove at the same time, but we made it safe. So anyways, have a great day. We'll see ya.